Now, there's a strong argument to be made that Baldur's Gate 3 isn't merely a generational Game of the Year winning RPG, it is one of the greatest video games ever made, full stop. Larian Studios' utterly goated RPG pulled off the tricky task of appealing to CRPG diehards while also winning the franchise a whole new legion of fans with its astonishing scope, cinematic story, and accessible yet pretty nuanced tabletop-inspired gameplay. And while precious few developers are capable of replicating the mega-budget scale of Baldur's Gate 3, there are at least some extremely promising projects in the works that are basically cut from the same cloth, and that's what we're here to talk about today. As I'm Jules, this is FGS, and these are 10 upcoming games like Baldur's Gate 3 you need to know about. Number 10, Warhammer 40k Dark Heresy. So let's kick this list off with a game that is at the very tip top of my wish list, and it's also based on another tabletop RPG, Warhammer 40k, and it is Warhammer 40k Dark Heresy. From Owlcat Games, the team behind the Pathfinder titles and also Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader, Dark Heresy casts players in the role of an Imperial Inquisitor dispatched to investigate a series of disappearances in the Calaxis sector of the galaxy. As is to be expected from modern Warhammer games and really any CRPG worth its salt, Dark Heresy prides itself on presenting a morally ambiguous world where justice is in short supply, and clear notions of good and bad kind of don't really exist, therefore every decision carries meaningful weight. Owlcat has promised a complex and nuanced depiction of the Inquisition's bureaucracy, alongside satisfyingly deep, brutal turn-based combat. It is, just like Baldur's Gate 3, a game that absolutely refuses to talk down to you, and should prove all the more rewarding as a result. Number 9, Shadow of the Road. And now we have something kind of similar, but also very different, and also published by Owlcat Studios, Shadow of the Road. This is a story-driven, turn-based isometric RPG set in feudal Japan that is torn apart by civil war. The big twist, however, is that this is a heightened rendition of that setting, complete with magic and steampunk-flavored machinery, leaving the nation torn between the call of tradition and the unstoppable tide of progress. Players will take part in a mission to protect a boy with mysterious powers, making path-shaping decisions which will ultimately change the course of history. Given how few CRPGs are actually set in Japan, this setting is certainly a pleasant surprise, and the PB&J-esque fusion of supernatural with cutting-edge tech will further help Shadow of the Road stand out in a crowded field. Though this is the first title from developer Another Angle Games, absolutely nothing we've seen from Shadow of the Road suggests anything less than an RPG classic in the making.
Hey guys, it's time to talk about today's video sponsor. No one, actually. It's just us at the FGS channel here. Just asking you to take some time out of your day to subscribe to this wonderful channel. And I'm also just going to say, now we can all just laugh at the people who skipped forward a couple of minutes there because they thought I was going to do an actual ad read, and there isn't one. So yeah, they've just now come back to find that me making fun of them. Enjoy that. Bonus content. There's more of that if you subscribe.
Number 8, Star Wars Zero Company. If you want to popularize just about any game genre, doing something with Star Wars in the title is basically a cheat code. But Star Wars Zero Company doesn't come off as a cynical attempt to break open the turn-based strategy game market. Rather, it's the Star Wars-themed XCOM game that people have always wanted. Yes, please. Developed by BitReactor in conjunction with both Respawn Entertainment and Lucasfilms Games, Zero Company is set in the fading embers of the Clone Wars as you take control of ex-Republic officer Hawks, who leads a ragtag team of guns for hire. When faced with a galaxy-endangering threat, Hawks and his team must set aside their differences for the greater good. From the little gameplay that we've seen so far, this looks like a massive breath of fresh air for Star Wars, placing an emphasis on cerebral action, character customization, and party interactions, and should make it pretty much catnip for both fans of both Star Wars and Baldur's Gate 3. Number 7, Esoteric Ebb. For anyone craving a mashup of Baldur's Gate 3 and Disco Elysium, yes please, ×2, and by the way that should be everyone else because those games are great, the wonderfully monocred Esoteric Ebb is here to answer the call. Set in a strange arcane punk world, Esoteric Ebb casts the player as a character known only as the Cleric, but there's clearly little interest here in a classic hero's journey. Instead, the game encourages you to be the world's worst cleric. As you investigate a conspiracy at the heart of your city, you'll be able to make sloppy messes of just about everything. Dice rolls govern the order of the day, of course, but you'll also have to deal with the many voices in your head. It's a game that, like Disco Elysium, has little regard for the protagonist's dignity and would rather set them up for embarrassment just for a good laugh. And you know what? We're absolutely here for it. As riotous as it all sounds though, there's nevertheless a complex choice-driven narrative alongside rich characters and a deep mystery to unfurl. Number 6, Gothic Remake. And now for the remake of a game that's just a few short years younger than the original Baldur's Gate itself, and that's Gothic. Now Gothic isn't nearly as hallowed as Baldur's Gate, but the original 2001 game remains fondly remembered by many as one of the all-time great Eurojank RPGs. RPGs. To call it ambitious for the time and the size of its team is, well, quite the understatement. This remake from Alchemia Interactive not only endeavors to rebuild the cult classic in Unreal Engine 5, but intends for it to be more accessible to modern players through an overhauled interface and control scheme. The developers have said that they also aimed to make the world larger than the original while including quests that were cut from the original release, and having all the dialogue rewritten and re-recorded for added depth and detail. If the prologue demo is any indication, they're really coming out swinging with this remake, which feels less like a glossy glow-up more than a comprehensive teardown and rebuild. Number 5. Pathfinder: The Dragon's Demand. Pathfinder: The Dragon's Demand is a new CRPG from Ossian Studios, which is comprised of Baldur's Gate and Neverwinter Nights veterans, and their goal was to produce a back-to-basics tribute to the tabletop RPG that basically delivers a shrunken-down version of the Baldur's Gate 3 experience. Being a far smaller outfit than Larian, a similarly scaled project was simply out of the question, but by keeping the level cap low and setting their sights modestly, they can avoid scope creep while delivering a smaller yet refined RPG outing. And honestly, while 100-hour time sinks can be great, Ossian has talked up the appeal of developing a rich RPG for more time-poor players, or simply those just craving a more hemmed-in 30-hour campaign, and frankly, that sounds pretty awesome. Aesthetically, the game will also lean hard into a digital tabletop style, with character models appearing on screen complete with a figurine base, and considering how tough it is to stand out in the CRPG space, that's another feather in its cap. Given that this game blew past its Kickstarter goal in short order, hopefully the team has everything they need to deliver on firmly set expectations. Number 4. The Expanse: Osiris Reborn. On the face of it, The Expanse: Osiris Reborn might not seem particularly similar to Baldur's Gate 3, but it is crucially being developed by the CRPG masters at Owlcat Games, who by their own admission have taken cues from Larian's threequel while making this game. They've also cited other influences such as Mass Effect, various Souls-likes, and even Persona 5 of all things. Osiris Reborn is of course set within the universe of the hit sci-fi books and TV series, where players take control of a mercenary who is drawn into a conspiracy spanning the breadth of the solar system. Owlcat has promised an engrossing mix of cover-based real-time combat, complex crew dynamics, iconic locations from franchises like Ganymede, Ceres, and Mars, and even a few familiar faces from the TV show. From the eye-wateringly beautiful visuals to the sheer depth of the world depicted, this could very well be one of the best licensed video games in years, especially with how natural a fit the world of The Expanse is for the action RPG treatment. Number 3. Zero Parades for Dead Spies. Zero Parades for Dead Spies is the hugely anticipated new CRPG from Disco Elysium devs Zaum. You need only take a passing glance at Zero Parades to see the similarities to the studio's previous efforts, both in terms of art style and all-around tone. It may not be exactly Disco Elysium 2, but Zero Parades is clearly a very close blood relative, with players taking control of a downtrodden spy who tries to convince their former squad mates in order to regroup for a perilous new mission. Just like Disco Elysium, it touts a gorgeous isometric style. It's also bitingly sarcastic and dry-humored, and also presents a complex web of options for progressing through its story. Even accepting the major internal issues that Zaum has suffered through recent years, everything we've seen from Zero Parades so far suggests it to be a worthy successor. Smart, grimly funny, and basically impossible to forget. Number 2. Starfinder: Afterlight. It's certainly telling that this sci-fi CRPG based on the beloved Starfinder tabletop franchise obliterated its Kickstarter funding goal, with almost 15,000 backers delivering more than 10 times the requested moolah. It sure seems like Epic Tellers Entertainment is cooking up a banger here, with its fluid strategic combat, extremely deep class and customization system, wildly branching narrative, and stacked roster of companions. It's clearly a game that wants to stand shoulder to shoulder with bigger fish like Baldur's Gate 3. And if that all somehow isn't enough, the voice cast is being directed by BAFTA winner Neil Newbon, who perhaps not so coincidentally won a Game Award for voicing Astarion in Baldur's Gate 3. It certainly seems that this game is going to bring Paizo's sci-fi fantasy world to life with all the love it deserves, and so don't be shocked if the 60-hour adventure becomes one of 2026's surprise hits. And number 1, Divinity. And finally, could there be any other pick than Divinity? At the Game Awards last December, Baldur's Gate 3 developer Larian announced that their next game would be a new entry into their beloved RPG franchise Divinity. Though the nauseatingly violent reveal trailer was basically just a tone setter, Larian has confirmed that Divinity will be a turn-based RPG just like Baldur's Gate 3, albeit with a new engine to support the game's more ambitious scale. Indeed, as unimaginable as it might seem, Divinity will be bigger in scope than Larian's previous RPG masterpiece, while also offering up the same co-op functionality and early access release that it did. It goes without saying that just about anyone who even remotely enjoyed Baldur's Gate 3 should have Divinity on their radar, because with all the resources at their disposal following that game's success, there's every chance that Divinity genuinely could outdo it somehow. It's open, right? And there we go, my friends. Those were 10 upcoming games like Baldur's Gate 3 you need to know about. Hope you enjoyed that, and let me know what you thought about it down in the comments section below. As always, I've been Jules. You can go follow me over on Instagram and Blue Sky, where I'm at RetroJ, but the O is a 0. Hope to see you over there, my friends, and I hope that you're treating yourself well with all the love and respect that you bloody well deserve. And get out there and smash your life goals today, because I bloody well believe in you. As always, I've been Jules. You have been awesome. Never forget that. I'll speak to you soon. Bye.